Hey everybody, welcome to Cult Fiction. We're going to be talking about season 2 of Reacher today. We're also going to do a reaction on the new trailer that just dropped that some of us might be more excited about than others for Roadhouse. So let's start with season 2 of Reacher. I'm going to go straight to Bueller. Let's hear what you got to say, sir.
It's been no secret that like pretty much all of us, I would say at least the majority of us have not been super stoked about season two of Reacher for a few different reasons. I mean, look, it's an action show, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's got what we want as far as that goes. But it seems really forced this season. It's pretty far removed from season one, the small town stuff. Like now we're in New York, we're in Atlantic City, we're in wherever, like these big cities and stuff. We have this international bad guy, spoiler. Um, and like I said, the first time we talked about this, introducing this whole team versus the solo aspect of season one, I kind of felt like that was a dangerous move because it really feels like something they pull in later seasons of shows like this.
Mhm.
And so we did get this team, and like I said, I expressed in the beginning I was concerned about it, and my concerns I think were validated as the season came to a close. Um, I just didn't feel that this team was necessary. I didn't feel the closeness of the team. Episode 7 really sent it home for me, and I said that in the group chat where like we know these guys closed one big case. Eric was quick to point out where they've worked together and closed other cases. That just wasn't a focus of the group, and that's very fair. That's very valid. And looking it up, there's a wiki for Reacher, and it says the special investigators 101st was together for like 2 whole years. And I'm just not buying the camaraderie they have, like willing to go draw blood and die for each other after 2 years of investigating pretty much petty crimes in the military. It just seems really silly to me. We saw the one bonding moment they had when they all got to fight together at the bar, which Alex talked about. Um, and then after 2 years together, when they get disbanded, that's the only picture they have of them as a unit. That's how close they were. They had one picture from their first bar fight when they were together for 4 days, and they're that close. Like, give me a fucking break. I just didn't get any of this closeness, camaraderie, or anything that they were trying to force on us. We talked about the writing falling flat and like some of the quips and one-liners just kind of not hitting at all. And I think all of that kind of comes together and just made season two just not that great. I'm still hoping for it. Like I like the main actor. I want to see him do more stuff. I want to see Reacher succeed. But yeah, like I also brought up early on, the writing of the movies with Tom Cruise, there was just some great interactions and great monologues and just great back and forth in those movies, even though he didn't embody the Reacher of the books. Like we need more of that. So overall, man, I wasn't super impressed with season two. I hope we get a season three and it's better, or I hope that the actor goes on to do some really cool things in the future. I will say that the love interest that he had, I've never seen her before, and I wouldn't mind seeing her in other stuff. And also the funny guy who played the lawyer, his kind of right hand man. I wouldn't mind seeing him in other stuff too. He seemed enjoyable as an actor.
All right, so you think overall then you're going to give it a thumbs down?
Yeah, I think I would have to give it a thumbs down if I was gonna. I couldn't even give it a number rating, but it wouldn't be very high. I wouldn't recommend season two to anybody, honestly.
All right, fair enough. Gus, what do you got to say about it?
Detective guy, Tano Rizzo, say his name. Best part of the damn show. No, it's the best part of the whole damn show. Like,
And that's not even saying much though.
no, it's not. It's not like, but like, and I could pan the show, right? I could pan it super hard because like it was super formulaic. It was like they just filled in the boxes, right? Like the same thing. But what I dug the most about it was that character was great. If you give me more of that character and just anything, whatever it is, I'm down. Like part where he confronts his boss, like when he confronts like the lieutenant that's like dirty, dude, that's like it made me want to be a better American. Like
I don't
straight
think we're
up.
talking about the. I don't think we're talking about the same dude here.
No,
Which
the
You're ta-
detective.
you're
Oh
talking about
no,
the cop. You're talking about
yeah,
the cop for New
yeah.
York. I'm talking about the other guy that was in the 101st. That was like the smaller dude that was kind of his right hand man.
Oh no. I like that guy too. He was cool too.
Yeah,
The guy with brass knuckles and the switchblade.
yeah, that guy.
I like that guy. That guy was cool. I would have liked more backstory on him too.
Yeah,
Um,
the other guy we've seen in plenty of other things. He shows up as a character actor all the time.
Yeah, but I'll take that character. That was legit. Like I'll take that character, and then like the best scene in the whole movie is when like they leave and he knows, right? He knows that he's being tailed, and he goes out like a boss, dude, like straight up like a boss. And since I love the improvised use of weaponry, car versus person, beautiful, beautiful. And Neely got over, like, I don't know if she's autistic, she can't touch people, I don't know what the deal is, no disrespect. She, she manned up, and she manned up, gloved up, was like, this old boy's gonna die in my arms, it's all good. So I really enjoyed that part. Everything else I could have, I don't know, it was like, it was a little too formulaic. They probably suffered from some writing stuff during the strike. Oh, I don't know, but I'll take that part any day. I'll take Detective Gaetano Rizzo any day. I'll watch the 8 hours of TV just for the 7 minutes of that dude, period.
Yeah, Detective Rizzo was pretty cool. So, thumbs up, thumbs down. You're gonna give it a thumbs down?
I'll give it a pass.
Really?
I can't because like if I judge it against the first one, it's a thumbs down. But I'm trying not to do that anymore because like I don't watch enough TV to have that luxury. So like if I watch something that's good and then I'm like, oh, this was good, I'm gonna watch the next thing from this franchise. If I throw it in the garbage can afterwards, judging it by the first one, because like the first one of a lot of stuff is usually really, really good. Right? That's when all the magic happens.
All right.
So like maybe they look at our show, they fine tune it, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do better next time. Like, so I'm trying not to judge things by their predecessor. I'm trying to judge them on standalone.
All right.
Would I recommend it? I'd probably say there was something better to watch 8 hours worth of TV for. But would I totally throw it in the garbage can? No, because it's fantasy, right? It's a cop fantasy. This guy killed like 25 people. It's ridiculous, right? Like the whole thing, it just like whatever, but it's fine. Like it's hyperbolic fantasy of like of military cop guy and his team and like whatever. It's fine.
All right.
So
Fair enough.
I get passed. I would
pass.
if it were
Even money.
Pass.
Thumb sideways. All right.
Give it a C.
Give it a C minus. Eric, what's your take?
I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah,
I liked it. I don't think it was as good as the first, but kind of like Gus, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna try not to compare it to the first season too much. Just because it wasn't as good as the first season doesn't mean it wasn't better than most of the, dog shit that 2023 has produced. There were some issues with it. There was some stuff that was kind of obvious. I mean, but you get to a point where you watch as much shit as we've seen, and you're gonna figure some shit out. Like, duh.
Right. Formulaic, like Gus said.
Yeah. Like, I mean, come on. I would have liked to. I think the cool thing about going to a small town is less guns, more him just punching people. I want to see him punch more things,
right.
less things. It's insanely popular. It had like over 1 billion streaming minutes. So, season 3, I think he's already posted on his Twitter pictures of season 3 that's filming right now. The guy who wrote the books was talking about what was it, Lee Child?
Lee Child, yeah.
He mentioned that to Bueller's point, they normally would have done the team later, but he doesn't assume that many of the people watching the show have read the books. So he wanted to get out the fact that he was on a team and flesh that part out early. And he said that next season is going to be back to Reacher being alone again.
Okay. All right.
Season 3 going back to a lone Reacher. So so that would be, I'm assuming that in the books, like Bueller's saying, this book takes place later on in the series, but Lee Childs doesn't believe that the casual fan watching on Amazon has read all these books. So he wanted to introduce early, get it out of the way, and then now he can do a bunch of lone seasons.
It is, it's a good backstory. I mean, it is good to know a little bit more about what Richard was like when he was actually in the military and stuff. So it wasn't a bad decision to have this story now.
Right. So I guess that was just, for the viewing audience, for the TV audience, and now they can move forward and do X amount of seasons in a row where he's a loner, and then now people can go, well, but what about his,
right,
it's already been done. Now you can move on.
Okay.
So with on that note, though, I mean, don't you think it would have made more sense to like introduce the team with like just backstory then, instead of also having a concurrent story running at the same time? Because now they've introduced all these new characters, and like you said, season 3, they're gone. So
well, but that's kind of the shtick of the thing, like we didn't see Roscoe this season. I think that's the thing about Reacher, is that you're going to get new characters every season, and then they're just going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
We had, the detective from Margrave. You saw him for about 5 minutes. Spoiler alert. And that was kind of like, ooh,
right.
and then you had the girl from the black woman from his team, who was also in the first season. And I think, maybe you might see her, every season for about 5 minutes, because she seems to be the only one that he has any kind of passing,
real connection to.
Connection to. But other than that, it's going to be like every season you're going to get a whole new cast of characters, and then they're going to be gone, which for some people that is that's going to be jarring. Like, oh, I really like that character, and then they're gone. And then for some people, that's going to be exciting. That's going to be like, oh, cool, new cat. As long as they're written well, it's going to be kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah, and as long as the actors are good, I mean, I don't mind having a vehicle for new actors to try out some chops and see some new faces. So that could be a good thing. Let's get Alex in here and see what he has to say about season 2.
I mean, I spoke about it before. Ultimately, I'm pretty disappointed overall with season 2. I think the writing is far worse than the first season, and the first season had at its core a mystery that I was very enthralled by. I was really interested in the story of what was happening in these characters in this small town. In the second season, they had this whole story with the villain Robert Patrick and everything, but I just didn't care. It felt like it all followed, like we've talked about it already, it followed a very specific formula, and I think I could see everything coming, and I just wasn't engaged with it at all. And it was very disappointing when I was so interested in the story from the first season, to have a second season where overall the story and villains and characters, I just didn't care about what happened. And
yeah, that's a good point. I think that they made a mistake by making it clear that Richard Patrick was the villain in like the beginning of the second episode.
right.
They could have drug that out for a few more episodes and made you think, like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I think with Joe made a good point. Maybe the writer's strike had a lot to do with it, but ultimately, I've said it before. Reacher is very much kind of a junk food show, a junk food thriller books. They're page turners. They're not really supposed to be the height of entertainment. But one thing I really can't forgive at all from this season, I think none of the action sequences were any good to me. They were all pretty bad. And it's kind of, maybe I have like kind of rose tinted glasses for the first season, but it kind of felt like when Reacher had to go up against multiple people, and when he had to sneak into the house, he had to use some sort of tactics or military training came into play when he was going to survive and beat these people. This season just felt like kung fu, where they just throw a bunch of people at him and none of their guns can hit anybody if they're running. So if Reacher is either behind something or running, no bullet can hit him. Yeah. And everybody just comes in one at a time and kind of attacks him, and just there's nothing engaging and nothing entertaining about it. And if this had been the first season, I don't know if I would have even come back to watch the second season.
Mm.
Yeah. But after the first season, I was really pumped, and I was really looking forward to the second season. And it's just all in all, just a letdown. And I think when we talked about it already, too many characters, too many cooks in the kitchen, and just probably the writer's strike had something to do with it too. But ultimately, yeah, it's a thumbs down for me, and I'm really disappointed in the second season.
Well, I am going to have to give it a thumbs up. So this is going to be a 3-2 vote on this one.
I think it's undecided because Gus was sideways.
I guess it was. So it's a tie.
A minority draw.
That's right. So I totally get everything that you guys are saying about not liking it, but I would say that I still think a lot of the one-liners worked. I was entertained by it. Maybe because I watched it late, right? I finished it just a few days ago, and you guys had already seen it, and I had heard from Alex and Joe that it was not that great, so maybe my expectations weren't as high, and so maybe that's why I liked it. But I thought the soundtrack was amazing. Maybe the best use of Super Bon Bon in the history of that song, right? When he's walking in through the gate. I thought that the mystery could have been better, but that Robert Patrick was a good villain. He has the presence for it. And something that Eric and I talked about, I think one of the reasons, maybe the biggest reason why a lot of people will feel like this season is a disappointment is because there were too many guns. Reacher, like the whole persona of Jack Reacher is that he is this massive, intimidating guy. That his physical potency puts him head and shoulders above the villains, and so there's a power fantasy there, because guys, look at Jack Reacher and they go, "Oh, I wish I could kick butt like he can." But more than that, it's that, and this is something I talked about with the first season too, is that Jack Reacher has no problem using bad guys' tactics against bad guys. Like he's happy to hurt bad guys, right? He's happy to kill them if he has to, or sometimes I guess even if he doesn't have to. So there's kind of a justice, a fantasy of justice there, that he's like this cosmic force that's meting out justice to people who deserve it, right? So there's a balancing of the checkbook thing kind of going on there. There's a moral fantasy as much as there's a power fantasy, that he can go out and he can hurt people who hurt innocent people. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons why I really like it. But that is so much more convincing when he's like smashing somebody's face into a bunk bed, right? Or like hitting somebody with a iron pipe or something. It's the guns. You can put a gun in anybody's hand. It's like what you were saying, Eric. It's just when he's shooting a gun, he's just another hero, right? But when he's toe to toe with a bad guy and punching him in the face, you tend to kind of feel it. And that's probably why, Alex, you think so many of the action scenes were kind of blah, because there was a lot of guns.
The best action sequence was the fight with the motorcycle gang.
Right, by far.
Yeah,
and
by far.
That's because they were trying not to use guns.
Exactly.
Right? And it's just like in the first season, like he said, when he says smash your head against the bunk bed, we all know what that was. Mm-hmm. When Fat Boy came in there and he's like, and he takes that guy's head and he bashes his head against the bunk bed. Like, we remember that scene. Or in the prison in the bathroom when he beats the living shit out of like those four guys, right? None guns. And so in Margrave, that was all pistols and rifles and punches. In this one, he was going against basically, paramilitary, security.
Too many
And so
machine
everybody,
guns. Yeah, just too many machine guns.
and so he had machine guns, and it just wasn't as that just was not as fun.
Satisfying. It wasn't as
It
satisfying.
wasn't satisfying. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so when that biker gang came and he was like, you know what's going to happen, and he said something like, "You're going to die tonight" or something like that.
Right.
You were just like, "Yeah, you are." You know, like that was easily the best action sequence of the entire show, and it had virtually no guns in it.
Right.
You know,
And
sorry,
different.
I don't want.
No, go ahead, Gus.
I never thought about it, but like he is like unarmed or with like an improvised like whatever, he is the dominant primordial beast.
Mm.
Like full on. Like I never ever thought about it, but like he fully is. Like you just look at him and he's like he's there. He's huge. He's muscular. He doesn't feel any pain.
Right. So when you put a gun in his hand, it's a wasted opportunity. Like why does he doesn't need a gun. If there's no guns, he has the advantage, and it's going to be like bone crunchingly satisfying, right? But if you put guns in everybody's hands, then it's just another shootout.
Yeah, that's a good
Like
point.
just
I didn't think about that until you pointed that out.
Yeah.
And so now I'm kind of just taking that. I'm like, yeah, I think there's a lot to it, you know, because
think about the detective that you were talking about, Gus, and the guy who betrayed the detective. You know, imagine how much sweeter would have felt if he just crushed that guy's jaw instead of shot him in the head.
That's what I wanted.
You know, like if he would have bunk bed that guy,
right,
instead of shot him in the head.
Jack Reacher shouldn't be shooting people. Like
Right.
you can have him shoot at people if there's like a shootout or whatever, but it should always be up close and personal with that guy, because that's his character and that's what's going to be satisfying, you know. So I think they lost that thread in this season. I'm glad though. And again, I didn't think it was as bad as some of you guys did. But I am glad that they've already got season 3 on the books. I think it's a smart move to go back to El Lobo Solo, right? The Lone Wolf Reacher. And so I have high hopes for season 3. Any last thoughts on Reacher season 2 before we move on?
Apparently there was a song opportunity on the soundtrack, since you brought that up. Jimi Hendrix Little Wing should have been used at some point.
Yeah. Maybe at the end when they fire at the chopper or something.
Yeah.
The most gratuitous death ever. That was awesome. That was awesome. I loved it.
I loved it. Just wait till they get over the channel.
Yeah. We don't want to mess. Okay, moving on. Let's do our reactions to the I'm looking forward to this, to the Roadhouse trailer, which just dropped recently. I'll start. I'll go first. I gotta say, I am just increasingly impressed with Jake Gyllenhaal as time goes by. That guy is shredded for this role, and he looks like he actually is a fighter in this movie, and he is not a fighter. Spoiler, right? He's but he must have done some serious training or something, because it is really apparent even from the trailer that he's going to be looking good in these fight scenes. Now, I didn't know, even looking at the trailer when I started it with the picture on the front, I didn't know that was what's his name, that is the villain.
Conor McGregor.
I didn't know that McGregor was cast in it at all. So
really,
I didn't know. So
I didn't know it.
But I've been obvious. I was avoiding it. You know, I wanted to be able to see the trailer without really knowing anything. But when he came on and I realized that was him, because the beard, you know, when he just was kind of, he had a big beard on the image on the trailer, you know, so I didn't recognize him right away. So when he came on and started hitting stuff with a golf club, I was like, what? That's gonna be awesome. So Joe hates Conor McGregor, so let's go to Bueller, since you hate Conor McGregor, and you can talk shit about the trailer. Go ahead.
I want to see the budget and see what was spent more on HGH for Jake Gyllenhaal or cocaine for Conor McGregor. Like, let me see those numbers. I would love to see that.
This motherfucker.
There's no way you can prove to me that Conor McGregor wasn't dusted to the gills in those scenes.
Just gotta
Absolutely dusted.
He can buy his.
just
own
gotta
hotel.
slander people. You just slander people.
Yeah, slandering
Man.
people. He probably just came out of the bathroom banging somebody's girlfriend.
Oh man, just the slander
Hitting that
right
nose
now.
candy.
This is
All right.
scandalous.
But no, but in all seriousness, I'm curious to see like how he does in this movie. See what his chops are like. Like you said, Jake Gyllenhaal. I haven't ever been disappointed in anything that he's done. I mean, you name it. Like I'm not even a big Donnie Darko fan, but I still enjoyed his performance in it. Like he's a good
Right.
actor. I mean, Bubble Boy, come on, dude.
Did you see The Covenant?
Yes, yeah, dude.
Solid.
He's just. I'll watch him. I'm gonna watch this. I just don't understand why it has to be Roadhouse, except for nostalgia porn. Like they could have called it literally anything.
Yeah, but it just gives it an extra layer of deliciousness.
I guess I just don't see the point. I mean, they're just it's nostalgia porn. Like obviously we know what Roadhouse is. We all know what that is. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel with this movie. They're giving you an action movie that's based loosely on the original Roadhouse. That's fine. It's going to be a good action movie. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal as a former UFC fighter down on his luck. He gets an offer to go be a bouncer at a bar in Florida with some people that are trying to, like, real estate tycoons that are trying to develop the land. And so of course they're the bad guys, and they send in Conor McGregor to go break heads, and that's going to be your big bad guy fight. Is going to be Jake Gyllenhaal versus Conor McGregor. Which is just funny because Jake Gyllenhaal plays a former UFC fighter down on his luck, and Conor McGregor is a former UFC fighter down on his luck, and they're in opposite roles. But
down on his luck, I don't know what with his millions of dollars, I guess he's just really
and all of his lawsuits
by.
and everything. All the lawsuits he's getting.
There's
and all that
nowhere
stuff.
his next meal is coming
Yeah,
from.
poor guy.
Sleeping in his Bentley.
He's doing great in the press. He's doing absolutely
Slander.
wonderful in the press.
More slander. Okay, so Joe hated the trailer because he hates.
I didn't hate the
McGregor.
trailer. I just don't understand why it has to be Roadhouse. It could be literally anything, any name. It could have been called Clock Movie, and it doesn't have to be called Roadhouse. It could have been called fucking anything.
But okay, so maybe they're taking a page out of the Reacher book in the sense that they're doing an action flick, like a throwback style action flick, where it's larger than life punches in the face. Maybe that's something that people are more into now after seeing shows like Reacher. I don't know. What do you think?
Said, I'm gonna watch it, dude. I enjoy action movies just as much as the next guy. Like I will 100% watch that movie when it comes out in March.
All right, cool. Well, I'll watch it. Gus,
it looks great. Like what's there not to like? Like, okay, you mentioned it already. Jake Gyllenhaal got shredded. How much gym time was that? Right? You look at him and you're like I looked at him and I'm like, damn dog, you go on a diet and start pumping some iron. But I mean, he just looks the part. The trailer looks super, super good, right? And my two questions are: one, who's going to play the Sam Elliott character?
It's a good question.
I was thinking that
because I love Roadhouse. I love that movie. I mean, just the original, fantastic. So
I don't even think that's the thing. Is I don't think we're going to get a Sam Elliott character, because Sam Elliott's character, the whole purpose of him was that he was the cooler that taught Dalton how to be a cooler. So what are we going to get? The guy who taught Jake Gyllenhaal how to be a UFC fighter is going to be the guy who comes in as Sam Elliott?
Well, being a UFC fighter isn't exactly the same as being a cooler. Like
that's what I mean. Like
he had to take that raw talent, right? Like you have to figure. Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse knew how to fight, but he didn't know how to be a cooler, and that's what he learned from Sam Elliott, right? So there has to be a Yoda in this movie. But I was wondering who's going to play it too.
Right. And then the other thing too, like I feel just from watching the trailer, which was quick, I feel that it's totally needs to be Roadhouse, from the chicken wire covering the band spot. Right. And then what I picked up too, so the best line in Roadhouse, the original, is "Be nice till they're not nice." It's the best line. And as a bouncer, I worked as a bouncer forever. I'd always be super cool, like even like cooler than I had to be until it was time to not be cool. But like what I dug on the trailer, which I'm hoping captures that deal, is when the dude with the broken arms on the yacht, and he's like, he's like, yeah, this guy's really nice. He's like super cool. And then all of a sudden, like, he just sent me to the hospital. Like,
Nicely. Yeah, he nicely
yeah,
broke my arm.
and I think it gets that vibe because like I like the like reluctant badass. I like that as a character, right? Like someone who can really lay down the bam and havoc, but they're just like, please don't make me do this. Like, why you gotta do this, man? And so I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm gonna watch it the first day. McGregor as a bad guy, like I like McGregor, like I think he's cool. I like him in the UFC. I wish he wasn't such like I don't know what the hell he is. I wish he could tamp it down a little bit, but there's no way you can, right? Like I like his story. I'd like to see him in more stuff because he's believable. Like going in there, being all crazy with the mallet, like smashing stuff. That's believable, and he looks nuts. He looks crazy.
He does.
So I'm
He
ready.
does look nuts. Yeah, for sure.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you on the humor, Gus, because the trailer did showcase a lot of the humor that we're going to see in this movie, which is definitely something to look forward to.
100%. 100%. Eric, what's your take?
Well, as far as McGregor's chops, acting chops, so in the trailer we saw, he said, looks like you guys are having a good time, and he swung the thing. He said, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't let anybody get this close. Did the thing, and then he said, like, so-and-so's on the job. Okay, so those are probably 4 of his 7 lines in the entire. That's what I'm going to get. We saw 4 of his 7 lines in the entire movie. So that's when you ask what his acting chops are going to be like, that's what it is.
So you don't think he's going to do a lot of talking?
No, I think we saw 4 of the total lines that he's going to have in the entire movie. Bet it, count them. That's my prediction.
I'm gonna predict. I'm gonna counter predict you, Eric, because
okay.
I envision a
great
villain monologue from Conor McGregor that like his whole justification why he's a douchebag, right? He's gonna, with his deep accent, he's gonna make crazy faces and break a bottle of whiskey over somebody's head or something. He's gonna have a speech. You watch.
Okay. 7 lines. Okay. So, but I love Roadhouse. I've always loved Roadhouse. I'm excited about it. As to why it's called Roadhouse, it's the same reason why fucking Mindy Kaling did some shit called Scooby-Doo and didn't, have fucking Scooby-Doo, you're trying to sell a property based on nostalgia and stuff. You're trying to get eyes on it based on nostalgia and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be fun, and as long as you just want to go in having a good time, you're going to have a good time. It looks like it's going to be action packed and fun and unapologetic action and cool.
Yeah.
Go with
Agreed. Let's get Alex's take on it. And Alex, I have a very important question for you. Do you think that he is going to pull Conor McGregor's throat out?
No, I don't think this movie will go that route. I think the trailer looks fun, and Roadhouse. It's a classic for all the wrong reasons. It's a classic for all the reasons the people who made the movie didn't want it to be a classic, but it is. And everybody that I've ever seen that has watched Roadhouse loves Roadhouse, but it's a terrible movie, and we all know it.
You're on thin ice, buddy. Thin ice.
You all know it. It's true, and it's great. And it's great because it's such a terrible movie. But it's like, yeah, I get the whole thing about remakes. It's like, why change it so much? I'm kind of like, if you can make a remake and change things and it's still good, I can give you a pass. If it's also kind of like if it's a really, really important movie or a movie that I really hold in high regard, and you're going to remake it, I'll be a little bit more skeptical of how you do it. But when it's Roadhouse, you can do whatever you want. And like, I'm still going to watch Roadhouse. And I'm still going to know that pain don't hurt. Yeah, it's not going to change anything. But the thing I'm most looking forward to is this guy. I didn't know McGregor was in this either. That came as a big shock to me. But Okay, cool. But I think I already mentioned it to you guys. What I'm really looking forward to is this is a movie directed by one of the guys who I think is one of the most underrated directors working today, and
Right.
that's Doug Liman. And I mean, you look at his output, you know, from Swingers, Go, Edge of Tomorrow, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, American Made with Tom Cruise, I think is a really, really underrated and forgotten
Amazing.
movie. And he's done a couple of things that, you know, are not great. So what was it? The one with Anakin Skywalker that can like time jump or whatever the hell that was. I
Yeah,
don't
Jumper.
Jumper.
Yeah, yeah. Even that one is like, as far as bad movies go, it's still pretty watchable. So,
Right.
but as far as, you know, his whole career, he's really produced a lot of great stuff. Born Identity, I forgot to mention Born Identity. He made a lot of really, really solid movies. And so the fact that he's attached to
The
this,
guy that Zack Snyder fans wish Zack Snyder was.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Because Zack Snyder is garbage.
touche. So overall, his involvement in it probably has me more excited than anything else. Like Jubal said with Jake Gyllenhaal, over time, he's really become an actor that I've really enjoyed in all the roles that he's been in. I don't know exactly why I didn't like him at first, you know, back when he was started becoming a star. I think the turning point was Night Stalker, was a Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Probably
He did
Brokeback Mountain for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, see, why you gotta take it to that level?
Yeah.
I
It
thought
turned somebody's point.
he did, and I think the first time he really turned my head was that movie Source Code. Did you ever see
Source
that?
Code was,
Okay.
yeah.
Source Code was a great flick, and he played a character that had more depth than the movie deserved, I thought.
So yeah, over time I've essentially become a fan of him at this point. So it's got a director I really like that I think is really underrated, you know, an actor that I tend to enjoy, and it's a kind of property. It's a remake, but it's a property that I'm not asking for a lot. You know, if you put in and make it entertaining, get some good action sequences, a couple of good lines, I'm going to be okay.
Fair enough.
So as long as you deliver on that, I'm going to be all right.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be dope. Any last thoughts on Roadhouse?
So, question for you, Jubal:
Yeah.
is it going to have a scene where the bar owner goes and wakes up Gyllenhaal, and we get a gratuitous ass shot of
Ooh.
Gyllenhaal?
I'm going to say yes to an ass shot of Jake Gyllenhaal.
You know, 'cause, I mean,
Potentially with a body double, but
Who can say no to that?
for the ladies.
that's off the ass, because that's what Swayze did, because we got a Swayze ass shot in Roadhouse in the original. I mean, you got to do an homage, right?
That's right.
Gotta.
That's right. Good call.
Before we watch the new one, we're going to have to watch the old one.
Oh,
Again.
boy.
100%.
I got to disagree with Gus real quick on the best line out of that movie, though. Like, I think you're right. Like, be nice until it's time to not be nice is great, but following that was, well, what if you call the mother a whore? Is she? That was the best line. That was the best line.
That was a good line.
And for the record, when he pulls out that dude's throat, because I watched some like deep dive on Roadhouse, they had it in the script. They called it the Hillbilly Death Claw. The name of that murder move, the Hillbilly Death Claw.
Well, we'll see.
It warms the cockles of your mullet, man.
Yeah, dude, I feel you. I think they're gonna have it. I think somebody's gonna get their throat pulled out.
I don't think it's going to have anything nostalgic at all from the first movie.
Well, did anybody catch the rating? Is it rated R or is it rated PG-13?
It is rated R.
It's rated R. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so we got the F word and violence.
See, I think there was throwback stuff though.
I mean, yeah, you had the cage for the Jeff Healey band, but we're not going to get the Jeff Healey band, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be missing from it, as far as it being a Roadhouse movie, and like we all said, we hold that movie near and dear to our hearts for various reasons. I think there's going to be a lot of things that they're not going to put in it for whatever the reason may be. And I'm not going to be surprised at all if we do not get a Wade Garrett. I don't think we're going to get a Wade Garrett. I don't feel it. I don't see it happening.
All right. Well, You heard it here first. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for
Wait, what's
joining
Eric
us.
saying?
Oh wait, Eric, you got something?
No, I'm saying, do we get Jake Gyllenhaal butt then?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Yes.
What if we
Yes.
get a full frontal?
that's what I'm thinking for an off.
What if we get a Jake Gyllenhaal Eastern Promise style fight scene?
Oh,
Full frontal, jacked to shit, murdering some dudes with his dong out.
We can only
We
hope.
we get to see the full Bubble Boy.
That's right. I think it's going to be awesome.
Boy.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Tune in next week. Take it easy.